Chris Ikeka's victory in the State House of Assembly elections was a long time coming. He had finally defeated his opponent, Chief Oruma of the Change Alliance, but the victory felt hollow to those who understood the system. Blessing had played a pivotal role, guiding Jacinta, Chris's wife, on the latest fashion trends for their campaign appearances. These weren't campaigns in the real sense. They were processions, grand parades that promised the people nothing and expected their unwavering loyalty in return. Manifestos, just recycled promises, regular electricity, pipe-borne water, and infrastructure improvements. These pledges had been made since the 1960s, only to be trotted out every 4 years like stale leftovers at a feast. The press, the so-called fourth arm of government, was silent. Investigative journalism was non-existent, its potential squandered in exchange for brown envelopes. Reporters grinned and nodded along with politicians, knowing their compliance came with a payoff. Chris Ikeka understood the game well. Payments to journalists guaranteed glowing coverage, ensuring his name was splashed across newspapers and TV screens. For the reporters, it wasn't about ethics, it was about survival. A single payment might mean a new car or a chance to secure the next big scoop. The pen, once a weapon of truth, had become a meal ticket. Chris Ikeka's party, the People's Ambassadors Party, held a single rally at the state stadium. The event was more spectacle than substance, designed to dazzle rather than inform. By mid-afternoon, the stadium began to fill with a sea of people in mismatched uniforms and colorful attires. Each group carried banners proclaiming their allegiance. Market women for People's Ambassadors Party, timber traders for Ikeka, Nigerians in Diaspora for Ikeka. The banners competed for size and prominence, each one grander than the last. Whispers from the opposition hinted that the crowd had been paid to attend. The accusation didn't bother the organizers. They had done what needed to be done. The most dramatic arrival came from a group of young people bearing a banner that read, "Students for Ikeka." Their entrance caused a stir, kicking up a cloud of dust as they danced and chanted. The students' energy was infectious. Boisterous young men and women jumped into the air, their chants echoing across the stadium. But beneath the surface of their celebration was a bitter truth. They danced away their futures, unaware that the very politicians they cheered for were plundering their tomorrow. The dust settled, but the image lingered. The hopes and dreams of a generation sacrificed for a fleeting moment of spectacle. A long motorcade snaked its way into the stadium, announcing the arrival of the governor. The crowd erupted in cheers as he stepped out, immaculate in a white top adorned with a radiant gold button and a black resource control hat. He raised a fist to acknowledge their adulation, a seasoned politician basking in the moment. In a ceremonial gesture, the governor handed Chris Ikeka and the other candidates their party flags, a symbolic announcement that these were the chosen flag bearers. Chris ascended the podium in a sky blue and white robe, the party's colors, with a photo of the governor woven into the fabric. He clutched the flag like a prized possession, gazing at it with the reverence of a groom beholding his bride. The governor launched into a long, convoluted speech, painting a rosy picture of the country's future under their continued leadership. The words were empty, recycled from speeches past, yet the crowd cheered as if hearing them for the first time. Chris listened, standing tall on the podium, already feeling the weight of his newfound status. The crowd below, a mix of party loyalists, hangers-on, and thugs, cheered and waved flags, their enthusiasm fueled more by monetary gain than genuine belief in the party's vision. As Chris stood there, he felt a surge of excitement. This was the world he had always wanted to be a part of, a world of privilege and luxury. He envisioned himself driving flashy cars, wearing designer clothes, sipping expensive champagne, and living in a palatial mansion. He knew the elections were a mere formality, Votes didn't count, power did. His campaign would not rely on connecting with the electorate, but on securing the blessings of influential royal fathers. Chris's campaign reached villages inaccessible by road, but not on foot. He arrived by helicopter. The lack of infrastructure didn't bother him. In fact, it became a status symbol. The press accompanying him abandoned their duties, too busy marveling at the helicopter ride. What could have been a moment to spotlight the community's struggles became a grotesque spectacle of privilege. Election day came and went, and Chris Ikeka was declared an honorable member of the State House of Assembly. He had won without visiting most of the villages, without listening to the people's needs, and without offering a plan for their future. His victory was a triumph of the system, a system that valued power over progress, self-interest over service. The people were left with the same unfulfilled promises: clean water, electricity, jobs, and schools. Chris, meanwhile, celebrated his new title, already planning how to leverage it for personal gain. The hall buzzed with activity as newly elected members of the State Assembly took their oaths of office. Among the onlookers was Blessing, watching closely from her seat. Despite her role in Jacinta's inner circle, a familiar pang of jealousy bubbled up inside her. "Jacinta has everything handed to her on a plate," she muttered to the group sitting near her. "All thanks to Chief Nboli." Blessing glanced at Jacinta, whose radiant smile never faltered as she stood by her husband, Chris Ikeka, now officially a member of the Assembly. As the inaugural ceremonies wound down, the new members began to navigate their privileges: spacious accommodations, sleek government cars, and well-appointed offices. Blessing's gaze shifted to a group of stylish young women mingling with the new members. These were the bank representatives, their outfits hugging every curve, their heels clicking with purpose. To Blessing, they were nothing more than harlots, dressed up by the banks to tout for business. She noticed one particularly striking woman approach Chris with practiced confidence. The girl offered Chris an array of exclusive banking services: diamond accounts, credit cards, and multi-million naira overdraft facilities. Jacinta stood beside Chris, her face composed, but Blessing could sense her growing irritation as the bank worker lingered. The woman tugged at her short skirt, attempting to maintain a professional appearance, but her intentions were clear to everyone in the entourage. As the bank worker walked away, Jacinta muttered under her breath, "Asha Wu." Her lips curled in disdain as she shook her head. Blessing caught the silent plea in Jacinta's eyes, a look that begged for solidarity, for validation of her anger. Instead, Blessing reached over and squeezed Jacinta's hand gently. If I were in her position, Blessing thought, I would have smiled my best smile rather than curse the lady. This comes with the territory. The day that had started with triumph now felt complicated. Chris's success came with new challenges: the perks, the temptations, the women. Blessing reflected on Jacinta's struggle to balance pride and insecurity, and on her own role in the intricate web of politics. Women throwing themselves at politicians, she thought. It's the reality of the game. Yet, deep down, she admired Jacinta's restraint, even as she questioned her own.